Now we have in-depth coverage on a new report that finding minorities underrepresented in the Rhode Island Police Departments. Joining me live in studio right now is Jim Vincent. You're the president of the NAACP local chapter here, right?
Local branch, yes.
All right. Thank you very much for joining in studio. Before we get to you to kind of talk about all this, I want to go over the numbers first. This is all according to a study by the National Association of Law Enforcement Officers. Some pretty staggering numbers here. You see them on your screen right now. The study found only 13% of blacks and Hispanics make up law enforcement positions in the state, comprising of just 2.2 and 2.4% of leadership ranks. I think that's probably the most important thing here is the leadership positions. Just give me kind of the NAACP reaction to those numbers.
Well, we're disappointed. Obviously, in a state where 25% of the state are people of color, we'd like to see more than 5% be of the officer be in command. 13% of the population, that to me is still something we got to work on. But at least you know, I can understand that those are some numbers that we can work with. But the 5% in command, there's something happening there. We're not quite sure what's going on, why it's so low, and so we're concerned about that.
So taking that concerns, I mean, what police departments in this state, what should they take away from this study?
Well, they should be concerned, because you can't have a police department, especially in the city of Providence, let's say, for an example, where only 5% of your command staff is people of color in a majority minority city. It's just not the most effective way to run a department.
Hey, is this something you guys reach out to police departments to talk about with?
We do, and to be fair, police departments reach out to us. So we've been working with a number of departments, Providence, Warwick, Cranston, the state police, or what have you, in terms of overall recruitment, in terms of at the patrol level. So we feel that things are happening at that level, but it's at the command level, it's at the sergeant level and above that we're really concerned, because we find that there's a lot of problems in terms of not finding anybody, virtually anybody of color in those positions, very few.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit just from the employment aspect to just keeping people in position, the retention rates. That's another thing that's really focused on in this study, and that kind of leads into possible class action lawsuits. Explain that to us a little bit.
Well, I mean, the study also indicated that there are people of color that are leaving. You know, they're on probation, and they're leaving at much higher numbers than their population would suggest. So we're not quite sure what's happening there as well. So taken as a whole, we're just concerned. I mean, employment is important in terms of our community, and police work, those are some great jobs, great careers, and we'd like to have access to those jobs, as well as the higher paying command positions. So we are happy that we at least have a baseline, so we can have a discussion with each and every department to talk about their department, and hopefully we can work together to make those numbers better numbers in the future. Yeah,
it sounds like this study basically allows you to present something to be able to say, hey, let's talk about this, start that line of communication.
We just have to create a baseline so we can have something to discuss for the future. We're not trying to point the finger at anybody, but we did have to do an analysis of what the baseline was before we could really talk definitively about anything else.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate joining us.
Thank you for having me.